Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'll be discussing Android 7.0 on the Nexus 5X, or like they call it with so many other names, Android Nougat or Nougat or whatever you call it. I absolutely hate this name. I wish they would have kept it simple like Android N or maybe Android Nutella. However, now because it's official, so there's nothing we can do about it. So let's carry on with it. Okay, so before I start discussing everything including doze, battery life, performance and some of the features, let's quickly have a look and see what version do we have installed on the Nexus 5X. So once you go into settings and go right at the end, you can see about phone. Now this is something which I've seen new in this version. Without even you going into further settings, you can see the overview on around every setting, like the time here and the printing jobs and about phone. So without even me going further into about phone, I can tell straight away that it's running Android 7.0 Nougat. Okay, so let's go into about phone. Let's look at further details. You can see, like I said, Nexus 5X 7.0, and we have the latest September security patch level. Obviously it's a Nexus device, so you do expect that. Okay, so now that we know this is running Android Nougat 7.0, latest version, without wasting any more time, let's quickly get started. Okay, so first of all, let's start off with the notification panel. So once you pull the panel down, you can see I have loads of notifications, but despite that, my toggles are still visible. This is something which I love in this version of Android. There you have your Wi-Fi toggle, your 4G and your mobile signal toggle, your battery life and everything else. You can tap on straight away and you can go into your battery settings or anything else should you wish. So this is something really handy and really nice. As you can see, the torch has come on straight away, and you can turn the torch off as well. So it's easy access to your toggles, and you can also obviously rearrange them the way you like it. So if you press the arrow down, you go into edit, and from there you can move the toggles around to whatever way you like it, and you can rearrange them and put them back and forth as you wish. So a very nice and handy feature. Also, you have the second page here as well, so you can even extend more toggles, and so you have more space as compared to what you had from last time. Also, your notifications now, for instance, if I have my notification on Google, I can use the arrow here. Without going into notifications, I can see how many comments have I got and who's been commenting. And also I can move it, I think if I remember correctly, move it, if swipe across right side, you can see the settings menu come up. So you tap on settings and you can see you can block these notifications. You can so keep these notifications silently on there as well, or don't silence and block them and keep them as standard. Also, you can press and hold. If you do that, you can still go into the same setting as well. I think if I remember correctly, if you swipe it from right to left, yes, again you have the setting there as well. But if you go it all the way across, it'll probably dismiss your settings, like your notifications, as you saw in there. So plenty of changes on the notification panel. Also, I like this animation. If you go further on, you will see this nice circular animation. It curves like this and goes up like that, so I really like that as well. So nice touch from Google. So as far as the notification panels are concerned, I think it's a very good change, and plenty there as well from what I can see so far. Okay, next up is the split screen. This is for the first time that has come to vanilla Android. This feature has been on many Android devices in the past, like Galaxy devices and LG devices. So what you do is now you press this button. Let's say you go into any apps. For instance, you go into YouTube. There we go. So as soon as you go into YouTube, and then you, or any other app, you just press and hold this on the multitask pane button, and you can see it tells you straight away that you got now split screen, and it will give you this message like it just gave you just now. Let's do this once more and show you again. So we drop it down all the way like that. We hold it from here and we go down. It goes off. So press and hold again. There we go. The app may not work with split screen. It will give you that initial message, but in my experience so far, the most common apps are still compatible, and you can still use them with split screen. And here you can see this is your multitask pane, and all your apps are opened up out there already, so you can use two apps at the same time. Also, if you put the phone into landscape mode, it very smoothly and softly goes into landscape mode as well. There we go. It took a while there because I've been using the phone quite heavily. So, and as you know, Nexus 5X only has got 2 gigs of RAM, so obviously it won't be as quick as say a Nexus 6P or OnePlus 3 once that gets Android Nougat. So there you go. As you can see, it's split screen on landscape and also on portrait mode, so both on there as well. Also, you can now also do it the other way around. So if you pull it all the way down like that, there you go guys, so it finishes. You can also say go into the multitask pane again and press and hold an app, and then you drag here to make it split screen. This is another way of doing it as well. Again, the same message, but like I said, I showed you there are two ways of doing it. You press and either you press and hold it or you press and hold and drag the app up there, and that's how you get a split screen on Android Nougat. I'm happy to see that, because those devices like for instance HTC and many other devices which never had this feature, now this feature will be baked in standard on Android 7.0. So once these phones get all these features, once they get the 7.0 update, they will have the split screen as standard, and it would not be exclusive to only Android Galaxy devices or LG devices. So a very nice touch here as well. Also, whilst you're in the split screen mode, you can press this button twice and also change between the last two apps. So if you double tap here again, you can see it goes back to screenshots. This is where I was last time. Double tap again and it goes back into the one app before this one which I was using. So you can swap between two apps by double pressing this button whilst you are in split screen mode. So this is also very, very handy, because obviously Android, as you know, Nexus 5X is a small phone with a 5.2 inch screen. At times can be a bit difficult, especially people with big hands like myself, for instance. So if you want to swap between the apps, it'd be easy for you to double tap it and then swap between the two apps instead of going all the way across. So this is also something very, very handy. Okay, next up is now battery life. I'm sure most of you are very desperate to find out how the battery life on the Nexus 5X is, and has it improved from before? If it has, by how much? And as you guys know, when it comes to battery life, I also always make sure that I give you very specific readings to the best of my abilities. I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers who are going to rush the video out so to get many maximum views. Rather, I'll spend more time with the update, at least a couple of weeks, and then come back with my findings. Okay, so let's have a look into the screenshots that I've been taking for the past few days, guys. The phone is still on split screen mode, so let's pull this all the way down. There we go, and that should finish it off. There we go. Okay, so let's get into now photos, and from here let's get into screenshots, and I'll take you from the very first day when I got the update, which was the Nougat update 7.0. There you go. It was 1171, over 1 gigs in size, as you can see. Plenty of there, including multi-window and so much more. Okay, so then also I'm happy that on the Play Store they've also given us the block feature now. You can block calls on Android. If you update your phone app from the Play Store, you can get this feature now built in on Android. You can block your calls. Okay, so and I put this on my social media, including my Google Plus, Facebook, and also on my other accounts. So if you haven't been following me, guys, please have a look in the description. You will see all the social media links to my different apps, and you can follow me there for up-to-date information on Android Nougat. Okay, so let's further go down here. And then after that, once I got the Nougat installed, then I had this a security patch level update, which I also installed for September, which I showed you earlier. So this also came along at a healthy 49.3 meg. Okay, so then I was running this August. Like I said, this was before the update, the security patch level update, and eventually I got the September one. Okay, so first of all, I checked the standby time. I wanted to see, as you guys know, on Nougat now they have the doze on the go feature, like they're calling it. That means if the phone is in your pocket, or if it's moving but still switched on standby, it will still not activate the phone, and you should be able to save battery. My phone had been with me for the past few days. I've tested extensive, exhaustive standby times, but my findings are slightly disturbing, I would say. Not the best what I was expecting, but we'll see, find out in a minute. Okay, so here you go. That's the very first thing I did. On 9th of September, I left the phone at 3:37 in the morning after installing Nougat and everything else, playing about with it. And around 12:36 in the afternoon, about approximately 8 to 9 hours, as you can see, the battery was around 66%. And then when I checked it at 12:36, it had went down to 62%. So it had lost 4% about 8 to 9 hours. So this is not something exceptional, not something I expected. I thought it was going to be a bit better. Don't get me wrong, these stats are not bad. They are still very good. But the amount of talk they had on during the presentation, when they informed us about Nougat 7 and they gave us a presentation and told us about doze on the go, I think it's not working the way I thought it will. But like I said, it's only first one reading. I've taken more readings as well, and I will show you further down once we start talking about the battery life. Then I was using mostly Wi-Fi here, I think, if I remember correctly. And when the battery was down to 50%, I made lots of phone calls and stuff, as you can see here. Also my regular social media like Google Plus, WhatsApp, and also Chrome and bits and bobs. Like I said, plenty of phone calls as well. The call quality is fine on the Nexus 5X, no issues there whatsoever. Eventually, at around 50%, sorry, I was able to achieve 1 hour and 42 minutes of screen on time. Taking it further down after 50%, using Wi-Fi, like I said, every now and then I used I think if I remember correctly, maybe 3G as well. I can't remember, but I think I might have, or 4G, but primarily it was mostly on Wi-Fi. eventually I was able to achieve a total screen on time off after using it pretty much all day, 3 hours and 19 minutes. Now this was slightly disappointing. If you look carefully at this stat, at around 50% I'm getting 142. So you expect with this kind of figure for the phone to cross at least 3.5 or maybe go close to 4 hours, but that wasn't the case to be. In fact, I noticed something really funny as well. After 50%, if you look at this graph carefully, after 50% it really dips down, and this is a behavior which I've seen throughout I've lived with the phone for the past few weeks. Up to 50% the battery is fine. As soon as it goes down further 50%, below 50%, it starts to drop down really quick, as the graph shows my findings. It's pretty steady here, as you can see, all the way across, and I'm using it pretty much the same way as I was before 50%, which is like I showed you, Google plus WhatsApp and everything else. But for some odd reason I find this a bit funny. After 50% it just dips down really sharply, as you can see in the graph, and it drops down, and that's why my eventual screen on time was around 3 hours and 19 minutes. And like I said, mostly I was on Wi-Fi, but I did use 4G LTE as well. Most of these stats that I used were a mix of 4G and Wi-Fi. Okay, then I received the update on, like I said earlier, the September patch update, and eventually then I tested, I think, doze again. Yes, I did. Okay, so 62% battery was on the 14th of September at 8:33. I left it alone, and then eventually I checked it again at 14:38, and the battery had dropped down to 59%. Here again, from 8:33 to 14 is not much time, maybe six and a half hours, but we lost from 62 to 59%, about I would say 4 to 5% battery. We died in about 6 hours. Again, average performance, nothing exceptional. Like I said, I was expecting doze to go to be even super doze and even better than the doze we had before. But I think these stats are not as good as we had before, to be honest, from what I can see so far. Okay, once again down to 49%. Screen on time was after using my social media bits and bobs here. Eventually I achieved 2 hours and 4 minutes. Like I said, again, a very good stat, up to 50%. And with this kind of stat, you expect about 4 hours of screen on time, or maybe just over 4 hours of screen on time. But eventually, at the end, I was only able to achieve 3 hours and 38 minutes. It's still not too bad. Most people will be happy with it. It's a lot better than what it was before. And like I said, most of these stats are included with 4G LTE and Wi-Fi both. So and also in some during some hours I didn't have no network signal, so I did put the phone onto airplane mode. But my findings still remain the same. Like I said, on the graph, as you can see, after 50% there's a very steep dip into graph. After 50% it really goes down, dips down after 50%. I don't know why, and the battery starts to drain out more quickly after 50%. And again, that's why I was only able to achieve 3 hours and 38 minutes of screen on time. And this was the second day with Android Nougat 7.0. Again, down to 48% with 19 hours left. I was able to achieve again decent figure, 1 hour and 55 minutes. And eventually, as you can see here, again after 50% the graph really goes down like that, very sharply. And this is something which I've been noticing, but the first 50% is right, and the last 50% is, for some reason, the second half of battery just goes really steeply down. And eventually I was able to achieve once again even a lower figure than what I had before. Before we had 3 hours and 38, here I was able to achieve 3 hours and 27 minutes of screen on time. So this is something which I've noticed, and eventually, like I said, again and again I was getting around 3.5 hours, 3 hours. The first 50% was nice, and right after 50% on every graph it really goes down really quick for some reason, but I don't know why is that the case. Again, another graph settings, as you can see, dips down after 50% for some odd reason. Again, 3 hours and 10 minutes, it kept on reducing. I thought it will improve, but instead of improving, it kept on getting worse. However, I think if I remember correctly, the last reading was slightly better than what it was, like just about, I think, a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, if I remember correctly. So down to 50%, at 44%, you can see down to battery down to 44%, sorry, and I was able to achieve 2 hours and 54 minutes of screen on time, and this was primarily based on just Wi-Fi. I wanted to see how the performance would be just on Wi-Fi, or not getting involved with 4G LTE or any mobile data. So with Wi-Fi I was able to achieve some decent figures, 2 hours and 54 minutes of screen on time. And then further down you can see again after 50% the graph goes down a bit more sharply, and eventually here, despite the graph going very sharply, still I was okay. It wasn't too bad. As you can see here, battery down to 26% and 3 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time. I wasn't able to go all the way, guys, because I was busy, so I had to charge the phone up. But with this speed, I'm guessing I would have crossed 4 hours if the battery would have gone even further down. But I'm not too sure. Like I said, there is something going on which I'm unable to understand. But after 50%, the battery really dips down really sharp for some reason, as shown in the graphs. Okay, here again, I left the phone for nearly 2 days, guys. On the 19th of September, 32%. At 18:51, I left the phone alone, and then when I checked it in 2 days' time, on 21st of September, the battery went down to 19%. So from 32, it lost almost half of what I had left in there in just 2 days' time. To me personally, and this was the phone, was just standstill. It wasn't even moving, nothing. I left it in the corner of my room, and I was away for a couple of days. When I came back, I saw this, and the battery was really down. So this is nowhere doze on the go. Doze on the go doesn't seem to work as they said it would work. And my findings so far, the screen on time is reasonable. It's okay. It's not too bad. It's an Nexus 5X with only a 2700 mAh battery. You don't expect much. With 3.5 to 4 hours, most people are going to be happy anyway. But the performance in doze is obviously concerning, especially for those who were expecting more like myself. But for an average consumer, this should be more than enough and not too bad. So all in all, decent battery life, but the doze on the go is not as impressive as I thought it would be. Also, I noted that on the Nexus 5X, it's taking far too long to connect to my Wi-Fi network for some reason. As opposed to a phone on the left, as you can see, this is the HTC 10. It's running Android Marshmallow on it as compared to Nougat on the 5X, and this connects to Wi-Fi network, same network at home, at a much quicker and faster speed as compared to Android Nougat on the Nexus 5X. I'm going to give you a live demo. I wanted to do this just to give you an idea how slow it takes and how long it takes on the Nexus 5X to connect to my Wi-Fi network. So let's do this quickly. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, as you can see, the HTC 10 is already connected to my Wi-Fi network. It says BT Hub, and here, as you can see, 5X is still taking its time. It's good 10 to 15 seconds behind the HTC 10. It says connected, still says no internet, trying to negotiate with the router. Eventually it gets connected. So it's about 10 to 15 seconds of gap. For some reason, I find this very, very frustrating. You have a Nexus device with the latest Android Nougat, you expect things to be super fast, and this phone is not running some mid-range chip. It's got a Snapdragon 812, which is still a very powerful hexa-core chipset, along with 2 gigs of RAM. And considering that it's running the latest version of Android, these small little niggles at times can be really, really frustrating. And you appreciate the fact that you have an older version with a device which is not as known as the Nexus 5X. So something really, really strange. I thought I'll mention it to you guys. Even on the other phones like the Galaxy S7 Edge that I've got, and also on the Huawei P9, they all are connecting at a much quicker rate as compared to what's on offer on the Nexus 5X. Hopefully they will fix this in the newer version. I'm hearing news already that 7.1 will be coming out very soon. Hopefully this problem will be sorted out. It's not a huge problem for most people to be alright, but it's still a small little niggle. At times you're in a rush, you want to check your email or you want to talk to Google now, and it can be really, really frustrating. Something I noticed, I thought I'll give you guys a live demo and show you this small little niggle on Android Nougat on the Nexus 5X. Also, now you can change your font and your display size settings. So if you go into settings here, then go into display, and from here you go here font size. There we go. So you can change the font size to smaller or larger, whatever way you want, or you can leave it on default. Similarly, you go into your display size, and from here you can also change the items on your screen. You can make them look smaller or you can make them look larger, depends upon whatever suits your needs. So something very, very nice also in much easier way than before. Okay, now security has also been improved. As you know, the Nexus 5X has got a fingerprint scanner already, so, and also you can use your pattern or you can use your passcode. So let's go into settings and let me show you this very, very quickly before the video gets too longer. Security, there we go, and get into smart lock from here. Let me just enter my pin code. Okay, there we go. So once I've entered my pin code, then it takes you into a smart lock option. Here you keep your device unlocked when it's safe with you. Understood? As you can see here, on body detection, trusted places like your car, or when you get close to a Bluetooth connection or a device like trusted device, trusted face, and also a trusted voice. So something which is interesting, like for instance on Trusted Face, once you tap on there, it tells you unlock your phone by looking at it. Something which has been on Android devices for a long time, but I think they've been trying to improve it. So let's set this up very quickly. So find a spot indoor that not too bright, not too dim. There you go, and allow again. Once you allow it, you will see that's me recording with my Galaxy S7 Edge, and once it picks my face up, then it should be able to detect, and you should be able to look at the phone, face added and finished, and it should be able to open your phone up straight away. So let's try a trusted voice. I have configured this ready to my voice, so hopefully you should be able to pick it up. So trusted voice, as you can see, it's all configured. Even if the phone is switched off, I should still be able to unlock the phone with my voice. So let's have a look and see. Okay Google. Okay Google, what's the weather like?
It's 19 degrees and clear in London.
There we go. So it's not only unlocked the phone, it's also telling me the weather. So if I press the home button now, you can see the phone has been unlocked without even me touching the phone or doing any sort of fingerprint scanning or nothing else, nothing at all. And just with my voice, you should be able to unlock your phone and start using it straight away. So obviously my voice is there added as a trusted voice. You can do the same thing with your face like I showed you. So something they have made improvements to, and looks really nice, and something I'm sure most of you will love to use it on a day-to-day basis. Now finally, in the end, let's talk about the performance. I'm sure most of you watching this are concerned of how Nougat is settling down on the Nexus 5X. In my experience so far of using it in the past 2 weeks, I've had no issues, guys. It's very nippy, very smooth. And when it comes to multitasking, doing different bits and bobs, I've been messaging, emailing. As you know, I'm a YouTuber, guys, and I use my phones very heavily. So far, I've had no issues with the Nexus 5X. It's fast, it's nippy, it's responsive, and it's amazing to see that for a phone which only has 2 gigs of RAM, it's so amazingly fast. So the question is, would you want to invest in a phone like this now that it's cheaper and it's only got 2 gigs of RAM with a Snapdragon 828? I would say yes. If you're not a too heavy a user, and if you're not a gamer, and if you just want to do your WhatsApp, check your emails, make phone calls, take a few odd pictures here and there, this phone is more than enough, and it will last you for the next couple of years without any issues. When it comes to gaming and stuff, I would say no. The 2 gigs of RAM is not enough, even though it will play most basic games. But if you're a heavy gamer, then I would say rather go for the Nexus 6P instead, and not the Nexus 5X. Now let's have a quick look at the RAM management before we finish this video. So let's get into system memory. Should be here somewhere. There we go. As you can see, it's using 1.5 gigs out of 1.8 gig which is available, so it's still not too bad considering that we have only a 2 gig RAM phone. With the latest Android iteration, we still have a 266 meg free, so the phone has more than enough RAM to run smooth on a day-to-day business. When it comes to normal stuff, it will hang eventually here and there, but only if you put too much on it. But in most cases, to me, I found it very pleasurable. And for my users, apart from gaming, everything else on this phone, taking photos, listening to music, doing bits and bobs, and the phone is very capable indeed, and it's got no issues whatsoever. So you can buy that now, especially when the phone is now cheaper. So guys, this was pretty much it on Nougat 7.0 on the Nexus 5X. So far so good. Doze is a bit funny. Doze on the go is not as good as they promised it was going to be. Maybe in the next iteration it will improve, and if it does improve, I will be updating you guys on my social media. So please do follow me on my social media links, which are just beneath the description section. Like always, any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And like always, guys, please subscribe, as it really helps. And I shall see you in the next video.